Hey everybody, welcome to day number 20 of the AI Agent Challenge. My name is Dylan. I help entrepreneurs win the game of business by upgrading their systems with AI agents and automated workflows. Today is going to be an awesome tutorial for you. I'm going to show you how you can turn GPTs on OpenAI's platform into a lead magnet making machine. Now, one of the most useful things about these GPTs is a little use case that most people don't do. And there's these action schemas that lets us pull the data out of OpenAI's ChatGPTs or the GPTs themselves and be able to pull that into Make and to be able to bring that into our CRMs, into marketing campaigns, and to overall make for a amazing use case for lead magnets. I think these GPTs are very underrated for being powerful lead magnets. So I'm going to show you exactly how to get this up and running, how to build this, how to bring the data across the Make so that you can bring it into your CRM and bring it into a marketing campaign or anything else that you want to do with it. I'm going to give you some tools at the end of this that's going to help you streamline this process to make it super easy for you. So if that sounds interesting, let's get into it, shall we? So we're here with make.com, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into Make, we're going to go into the folder of the AI Agent Challenge, we're going to click Create New Scenario, and we're going to put day 20 here. I say this GPT lead magnet maker. Click Save, and all we're going to do here is create a custom webhook just like this. And I'm going to title this with the add function here for the webhook name. Well, GPT lead magnet maker, just like that. Click Save. And now we have this webhook happening like this. But before I go into everything else, because this is where this is going to be for a minute, I want to show you the thought process and the strategy behind this. So I have a little Lucid Spark board here where step one, what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to make the quiz, right? Because the GPT is really good at being able to provide immediate value to people. And any good lead magnet, generally speaking, provides value, but it always reveals a problem that then offers a solution, which is the next step down your funnel, your path. Step two here is I'm going to show you how you can use a GPT action schema to be able to grab the user's data. So I made an action schema that you're going to be able to get completely for free at the end of this to be able to grab the data from the GPT system, right? Harvest it out as an action and then kick that over to our webhook inside of OpenAI. So this is the way that we're going to be doing this. And we're going to go in and we're going to open up first step one here. And we're going to do step one of create the quiz. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like right now. And I'm just going to, because there's a lot of typing involved in this, I'm going to show you what this looks like. And then you can put in your own questions. You really just need to come up with, what are the questions that you want to come up with. But just so we can get through this and it's not a 2-hour tutorial, I'm going to shorten this way down just so you can see the important bits and you can always go through this later. So we're going to go in here. We're going to go to OpenAI. We're going to create a new OpenAI right here, and then we're gonna first type in a list of questions, and I'm gonna dump these in right here. We're gonna make this for a coach that's on LinkedIn that helps with employment transition, right? Let's just say that's what it does. That is what we're using it for, and I'm gonna show you the iterations of how you iterate through this. So I'm gonna go inside of here, and we're gonna type this in just like this. I'm gonna paste this, and we're gonna be able to see this right here. It says, I want to make, let's see if I can zoom in on that. Yeah. I want to make a short quiz that asks a series of open-ended questions to help a technology professional stand out and get a new job that they love through marketing on LinkedIn. Some problems that we identify is this. So we want to identify what are the problems that they're currently facing, make a list of the problems for the person. Right? They don't know how to build a personal brand on LinkedIn. They don't know how to turn negative self-talk and being laid off into a superpower. They don't know how to find the right boss, their dreams. They don't know how to book meetings on LinkedIn. They don't know how to get past the gatekeepers when they apply for the jobs, right? They don't know how to leverage the new LinkedIn algorithm to get more views, what's known as TikTokification these days. They don't know how to future-proof their career with this new AI wave of technology, right? What would be a few short questions that we could help identify the problems that they're facing? So we're going to hit enter with that. and then ChatGPT is going to do its little bit of magic, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to ask a follow-up question right inside of here. Once you get done doing this, again, you could enter whatever questions you want inside of here. And so you can see it's coming up with future proofing, leveraging LinkedIn algorithm, all this stuff. So it's got some good questions. So we're going to put another question inside of here is what would be the instructions I would put into a GPT to create this quiz? That would be the next question we type in. And so now it's starting to give us instructions so that we can make our own custom GPT, right? And it's doing that right inside of here, right? You can see that. And so as it's filling that out right now, we're going inside of here. Now, I'm going to show you where these GPTs live, and I'm just going to full screen this so we can grab that. And if we go in here to OpenAI, the way that you can access these GPTs is if you go down here to Explore GPTs, we're going to go over here, we can click on Create My GPT. Now you have sections here which are the bulk name, description, instructions, right? Conversation starters, which are those usually buckets that you type that like you click the button and it prompts a question. You can access the web or Dolly or that stuff. And then this little section here called Create Actions, and that's what we're really going to be using quite a bit of. But just to see, this is where we're going to be going with this. Now, jumping back into this over here, we can see that it's laid out some good instructional profiles that right here that we can take as elements that we can put inside of the section here. And I want to put this inside of here, but at the same time, I also want to format it a little bit more. And then what we're going to be doing this is we also want to say, like at the very end of this, we want at the end of these GPT that they're filling out this more or less a quiz or a survey or a diagnosis of the problems, we want the GPT to prompt them to then ask them for their name and email. And so we're going to put in a prompt, something like this. I'm going to copy this over here. Copy this, enter, paste. How would the instructions be if we wanted to diagnose one of these problems based on the quiz and then ask if they would like to be sent a customized solution to be emailed to them and then ask for their name and email? All right, so that's the next prompt we're going to just dump inside of here just like this. You can see it's now starting to reformat the instructions for the GPT to be able to do this. Right? Now that we have that, and then now that we have this and it's starting to populate all the data inside of here, we can grab this inside of here, right? We can highlight all of these instructions that we have here for the GPT, which just went ahead and formatted the questions, right? And when we go here, we're going to grab this at the top, right here, instructions for GPT. Grab that. We're going to go over into the GPT here, and we're going to paste that in just like that. So now we've got all the instructions in there just like that, and we're going to want to give it a name and a description. So we can ask ChatGPT this right here. We're going to ask, okay, well, what would be a description based on this? And it's going to give us a name for this. And what we're going to want to be careful is when you're making these GPTs, they're very careful when you're starting to webhook data out of there. And so what we're going to want to grab here is we don't want to use the word LinkedIn because that is a branded word, and GPTs will block you from being able to use branded words. So we'll call this, instead of that, we're going to just highlight the section. And instead of marketing on LinkedIn, we're going to call this we'll call it formal social media platforms. There we go. All right, so now we're not going to trigger the basically the rules that block us, which is branding and stuff like that. And we want to give it a name. So we can think of a creative name, which is, we can ask ChatGPT to come up with a name, but we'll call this the ultimate employment transition bot. Cool. Fanciful name. That's awesome. We'll give this, we'll have Dolly come up with a cool little logo so it looks nice and pretty, make it really formal. And now for the most part, we don't want to create any images just like that. We just want web browsing enabled. If we like this and this looks good, all right, cool. We got that. We got the instructions. We got the stuff pretty much ready to go just like that, which is awesome. Great. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use this information to create a schema for us. And the way that we're going to be doing that is we pop over to a GPT that I made inside of here. And if you click this new actions, this is going to be where we're going to put in our schema. Essentially, a schema is, if you're familiar with Make It All, it allows us to basically tell ChatGPT to flow the data into this webhook. And that's really what we're going to be going for right now, is to flow the data into the webhook. And we're going to do that by going into this action schema here. And I've built this little conversational starter inside of here. And if you start, it says, let's build the action schema. I will ask you a series of questions, and when they've been answered, I'll be able to build a schema. Are you ready? Okay, yes, I'm ready to get started. Great. And based on those questions, I came up with like, okay, these are the questions, these are the problems, here's the solutions. And I'm going to show you what this looks like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in really those questions along with the solutions, and then we're going to go through it as it starts to create this. And I'm also going to put in some of the problems that you're going to face, because as you dump these things into the action schema, there's going to be errors. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of wash through this. You're going to see what this looks like in just a moment. So I'm going to hit enter and return. And let's just take a look at this as it's populating. I want to create a lead magnet with a GPT that will capture the name and email of the person's email that helps technology professionals identify the problems they're facing and stand out getting a new job that they'll love through marketing on LinkedIn. I want to ask these questions and then diagnose it with a problem that they're facing and then put in how they're trying to get this job. And so these were the questions that we used before for ChatGPT. And then we said, based on that, this came up over here, just so you can see these questions right here came from the quiz descriptions over here on this side. And this is what we came up with on this side. And so I'm just pasting this in over here so that you can see these are the questions I want to ask, helping them identify these problems, right? So I don't know how to build a personal brand on LinkedIn. Is what steps have you taken to build a personal brand on LinkedIn? So we can see that each one of these questions that they answer will help identify a problem that at the end of this GPT, we're going to then give them a solution. And so, going through this, that we can see here that it's starting to create the parameters for this. So what is the parameters for this schema that we're going to be putting inside of the GPT over here? So when I go down here to the bottom, you can see that some of the information that's kind of critical to us is this API URL, which is where it's going to be hosted, right? Which is going to be over here. We're going to be webhooking this data across into, let's close that out, into Make over here through this data point. Now, looking at this action schema, this is some of the information we're going to look at, but really what it's going to be doing here is this is some of the information. Once you provided the server's URL and description, I can compile all this information for you into a schema. So what it wants to know, it says, please give me this URL right here so that we can compile a schema. So I'm going to dump this in here just like this. I'm going to give it my make webhook. And now it's starting to compile a schema. Now there's a couple of things that are already off of it that I just want to let you know about it, that you're going to find out as you would go back and forth and do prompting with it. And one thing is that we need to have this not be 3.0.0. I think it's 3.1 is what we're looking at. Pretty sure this is that we need to have that updated model. And I'm going to show you just kind of back and forth what this would look like. So we can see that we have this information right here. Now, a couple of other things just to note as we go through this is that you need to have, if you're going to be accessing this and sending data out, you're going to need to have at least a privacy policy, if not a terms and service. And so those are two critical elements that we're going to want to have inside of here to make this thing possible. So as we go through this, we can see that this is starting to ideally create a payload So when we webhook this data, we're going to be able to capture the name of this, this part of the payload, key pair values inside of the JSON, and say, LinkedIn algorithm familiarity. That's the query. And then the description is going to capture the user's familiarity with LinkedIn. And then it's going to send us a string of what the user typed in to ChatGPT and bring that all over. So, this kind of is designed for what we're looking for. There are some elements that we're going to need to update on this, but I want to just show you just a little bit of these things so that I can kind of block the issues that are going to pop up here that are going to be coming up for us right now, right? So a couple of the things that are going to come up is it's going to ask for a valid server error. So I'm gonna copy this over so you can just kind of see what happens. So I'm gonna copy this across, and we're gonna see some errors. I'm gonna show you how to loop through this so that you can solve this on your own and not hit these roadblocks. So we're gonna copy this. We're gonna open this up into creating our own GPT over here. And when I go to enter this in right here, just like that, you can see that it says your input should be 3.1, right? What it's talking about is this at the top. So we're going to want to change this here at the top, just like this. So if I change this at the top to that, you can see that that fixes that problem. Now, one of the other things that we're going to want to fix as well is we're going to want to have a privacy policy right here at the bottom. So I'm going to put in my own privacy policy that I have from my website into here so that we can use this. So let me go in here. I'm going to grab my privacy policy real quick from my website. Just like this. Copy that, paste in my privacy policy like that. And you see this section here that says test. This will allow us to test it. Now, we're going to split screen this and let's see if we can do this. We have this scenario here for make, and we can see right now it's waiting for some data over here. And if well, that's not the one I wanted to pull out. This is what we want to pull out. All right, so I'm gonna pull this over here to the side, and we're gonna open up the make. We can see this right here. So now I'm gonna hit test, just like this. Starting action. And starting the action means it's gonna be hooking across to here. And it says, do you want to always allow or decline? So this is gonna allow us to send the data across. So let's just hit always allow. Well, let's hit always allow, just like that. Now it's starting the actions, and we can see that we have successfully determined it, which means we are officially webhooking the data from the GPT over to make. And just so you can see this here, I'm going to pop over here on the other side. This is going to be where you want to put your privacy policy inside of here. And when you want to test this, you just hit this test button like I just did. You maybe not seen that because my video screen might have been over it, but you're going to hit this test button, and this is going to allow us to send this data through. So you need a privacy policy, and then you can test this functionality. So that's great. We know that works. So that's awesome. And what we're going to do here is now that we can tell that that works just like this, we're going to hit OK, and we're going to have this thing running. So now we're going to leave that off running in the background. And we're going to go back to full screen because this just kind of hurts my eyes. So we'll bring this over here, and then we're going to go full screen. And now that we have that in there, we know that that functions. So that's great. Now, the next step, what we're going to do here is we have this working. We're going to hit this little arrow back here so we can go back to our system right here. Some other data that we're going to want to put in is we're going to want to have a conversation starter. So right when you're kicking this thing off, it can get confused. And so we want to have just a simple box that people hit so that they know what to expect. So we're going to put in a conversation starter inside of our prompt inside of here. So I'm going to grab a conversation starter for us, copy this, and I'm going to paste this in right here. And all it says is, can you help me identify what I can do to stand out on a professional social media platform so I can get the job of my dreams? Right? So we're going to start with that. And I'm going to hop back over here just in case we can do some other things just like that. So now that we're going to have that conversation starter in place, just like that, when we go back to create over here in this category, and we want to be able to test this out as the GPT builder here, there'll be a little section that pops up. So again, we have this inside of here just like that. All of that looks good. And so now that we have this running, on this side, we're going to do a quick test. So we're going to go to create, and we'll say anyone with this link, right? So we can do only me, so I only have access to it, anybody with a link, or put it inside the GPT store. We want to have anybody with a link be able to use this because of the fact that we want it as a lead magnet, so we can put it on social media platforms and everything else that we're going to be doing. So now we're going to hit this, we're going to click save, just like this, and we can view this GPT. I can copy this link, or if I hit view GPT, this is now going to bring me over to here. And we have this cool little box here that we can fill out. I'm going to start to fill this out right now just by clicking here. All right. Now, you can see what's happening right now is this is actually giving us all of the questions all at once. And that's not what we want, right? So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go and we want to tell the conversation piece inside the GPT that we don't want this all at once. We want them to ask it one question at a time. And the way that we're going to be doing that is we're going to say, okay, that wasn't exactly what we wanted. So we can go here and we can say hit edit GPT, just like that. And what we can go into the sections over here with the GPT, and we can ask it an additional question and say, hey, let's do this one at a time. So we go inside the instructions here, and inside of here, there's a couple things we're going to want to do. One, we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna say here are the following topics, right? The quiz should include open-ended questions that address the following topics, right? Build a personal brand, all this fun stuff right here. And so so that's the instructions, and it says all participants of the quiz. After the participants complete the quiz, the primary is the face open response. Ask if they would like to receive a customized. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna put inside of here is we're gonna want to create a space here. We're gonna do this a little bit and prompt this to say, you are to ask the quiz questions one at a time. You do not ask the next question until you have a response from the user, just like that. So we're, okay, cool. That should be the prompt. That's enough to do that. We're going to click update with our GPT. Great. It's updating right now. Maybe with a link, we'll hit copy link just so we can see this thing. We can leave this here in case we need to make any edits. Command T, Command V, open this back up. We're going to hit this question again. Cool. Section 1, building personal brand. Introduction. Your personal brand LinkedIn is crucial. Let's explore challenges. What challenges are you facing when you're trying to build your personal brand on LinkedIn? I don't know how to stand out online. There is so many people posting. I don't know what to do. Cool. First question. How do you currently present your skills and experiences on LinkedIn? I have a few recommendations and a list of skills on my page. Great. Turn negative self-talk into a superpower. Okay, what do we want to do here? Okay, so, all right, well, the question is, what thoughts do you have about your career after being laid off? How can you use these to affect your job? Okay, well, my thoughts are, I am so mad at my last company for firing me. I can't stop thinking about it. Great. Got a little comment. Norman feels angry, get let off. Cool impact. Follow-up question. Can you describe a recent experience of negative self-talk impacting personal interactions? Yes. Instead of looking for a job, I wrote angry emails and deleted them. There you go. All right. What qualities are you looking for in an ideal boss or company? I want to work at a large AI company with a boss that is cool and kind and respectful. Great. Follow-up question. How do you currently go about finding and researching potential jobs? I search on LinkedIn for the title engineer, and look at the companies on Google. 4, what strategies have you used to secure meetings for potential? What have I done to secure meetings? I DM'd some HR managers on LinkedIn. Follow-up questions. What obstacles do you currently encounter when trying to book meetings on LinkedIn? They never respond. What challenges do you face when you try and get past the gatekeepers in application? I never hear back, so I don't know. This is a very sad person. How do you currently engage with LinkedIn platforms to increase your visibility? I like and comment on people that I am following. All right. What difficulties are you facing to get more views and engagement on LinkedIn? I create a post daily and it gets very few likes and no comments. Sad. All right, future proofing with AI technology. How do you stay informed about the latest AI technologies and impacting industries? I signed up for a few newsletters and play on ChatGPT. Follow-up questions. Have you taken steps to incorporate AI technologies into your career development plan? Not yet. Thank you for honesty based on responses. We diagnosed the problem you're facing is, so it looks like based on your responses, we can diagnose primary challenge you face on LinkedIn job search. It seems like your main challenge is effectively standing out and engaging with potential employers on LinkedIn. Would you like to receive a customized solution to help you overcome this challenge? And I'm going to type in yes. It says, great. Could you please provide your name and email just so I can do it? Okay, cool. Name, Dylan Watkins. Email, Dylan at jwatkins.com. Cool. So now we've got that. Starting action. So this is now triggering the prompt that we're using, the webhook, the action from the GPT. We're going to hit allow, enabling actions. Ooh, error talking. What are we facing here? Yes. For a direct follow-up email, yes. Dylan at dylanjwatkins.com. That is not doing what we wanted. Okay, so we hit an error here. It didn't prompt the way we wanted to with this. This should have triggered this message. So if we go back here and let's try to redirect this message one more time. We're going to hit send. And it says name and email. So I'm going to put in just my email and just see if that will work. Dylan at dylanjwatkins.com. Starting action. We'll hit always allow. Okay. So that did not work. So we want to figure out why that didn't work. And so what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you exactly what to do in this situation. We're going to grab this whole thing right here, and we're going to go here, and we're going to set error talking, right? And we're going to put this all the way here at the top. Copy this, and now we're going to go back to the Actions GPT here, and we're going to say, Mr. Action GPT, say, it's going to ask me some questions, and so I'm going to enter this in. I tried making a schema with you, but I got this error. How can I solve it? Here is the chat history. with the GPT that didn't trigger the action to send the webhook. Enter that. All right. So we're going to grab this data. Again, we're going to change that 3.0 to 3.1. And we're going to grab this and we're going to throw this back inside of the GPT, and we're going to update the actions, and then we're going to run through it again. I'll be a lot quicker just typing in random answers inside of there just so it can be a little bit faster. I'm going to go up to the top, copy code, just like that. It looks like, yeah. We're going to want to include these other pathways right here. Okay. Failed the user name. Error 400. Okay. So we're going to go inside of here and grab this right now. We're going to go inside the GPT. Over, where's that GPT? Right here. Great. And then we're going to go into here. We're going to hit edit, just like that. And now we can grab this right now and highlight everything. And I'm going to just grab a Word document right here. We're going to paste this in right here so we have this one. So this is the new one. And we're going to grab this old one just like this. Copy this so we can save this. I'm going to drop this down to the bottom so we have that. I want to save it later for referencing. Go up here to the top. Now you can see this is much shorter. It didn't actually include all the questions that we wanted to include. So what we can do here is we can test this one out as is and see if this works. If it does, great. And we can go back and iterate on it. So we can go inside of here, just like this. Paste that in. But we just want to change this 3.0 to 3.1, just like that. And if we go here, we see that spinning. We want to test that to make sure. We're going to hit allow. We're going to see if this works on this side. I'm going to type in this little blasting of questions. I don't. Not sure. So this is the testing grounds for the GPT. How do you describe recent impact to you? Again, I'm just going to type in brief words so I can show you testing it right now. Question 4, ideal boss. Awesome guy. I don't. So what strategies to secure potential meetings? DM people. Oops, didn't even spell it right. What obstacles do you encounter while trying to book meetings on LinkedIn? No one responds. What challenges are you facing when you're trying to get past gatekeepers? No one responds. How do you typically approach job locations? Copy and paste. I comment on posts. What difficulties have you been facing engagement in LinkedIn posts? No engagement. All right, future-proofing. I use ChatGPT. I haven't taken any steps for advancing my AI career. So there's diagnosis. Would you like to receive a customized solution to overcome these challenges? If so, if yes, please provide your name and email. We can send it. Sure. Name is Dylan. Email is dylan@jwatkins.com. All right. So we have this right here. This is still looking. We're going to hit enter. And let's see if this starts it. We're going to hit allow. Seems like there's an issue with Captain Contact with the API. However, thank you for completing the quiz. LinkedIn. Interesting. So I don't think we're going to want the name and the email. I think we're just going to want the email. So I think this is the bug that they're facing. I think if we just put in the email, it'll be able to send it across. So we have the forwarded bad description. We have this other data going on right here. And so we have the server URL, which is the make. We have the descriptions, all this stuff going on. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back. Now that we have this working, we can see that this is not sending the email that we want. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth with this. So we're going to go in, and I'm going to go to ChatGPT, and we're going to say, okay, we're still getting this error. It says error while talking to. We're going to tell it that. All right, we're going to go, here we go. So common issues, URL accuracy, saying it's not accurate. Oh, the parameters aren't matching the schema. That's probably what we're facing right now. Code responses, ensure the API correctly handles and returns the successful 200 and 400 failed responses. Webhook endpoint, so we pretty sure those are right. Is accepting a GET request. Okay. And then API testing. Okay. So there's probably a couple things we've got going on here. One, I don't think the parameters are really matching what we're trying to put in place with this. So I think that might be one of the big issues that we're facing here. And so we're going to want to go back and forth with this to make sure that we've got these parameters right? And so with that, I'm going to go and I'm going to do the reverse order, and we're going to try it this way. So we can check a couple things just off the bat. Is the URL correct? So we're going to look at the webhook, and we can see what that looks like. Ends in 8, UN8. We're going to look at this. I'm going to stop this, and we're just going to debug this one piece at a time. Okay. Well, that disappeared because it did not save. So we're going to go here, create custom webhook. Go over here, and we're going to call that GPT lead magnet maker. Great. Predetermine the data structure. We're going to use this new link here. And then we're going to go back inside of here, and we can take this, and we can update this just like that. So now that we have that correct link right here, then what we can do here is this is a get method. Before I was using a post method, so that could be an issue as well, but let's try this out. So we'll update that, and we can hit update right here, copy link, and close that out. And I believe what's going on right here is if we look at this, I don't believe that this is going to be capturing all the data on this side. So right now, we have response, success, right? We have a success response, and we have a negative response, failed, right? So we got success and failed, which is good. Those are two pieces that we needed from looking at ChatGPT over here. And then we also know that one of the issues is that we don't have the parameters. The parameters aren't matching. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go here, and we're going to copy this out just like this. Hit copy. We're going to go here. We're going to grab this right here. We're going to go into this original document because I'm willing to bet that we have an issue with the parameters not matching. So we're going to go here just like that, and we're going to paste in that link that we have. So that is correct. And we're going to go inside of here, and we're going to grab this original one, and we're going to do this as a reverse, right? And then we're going to go into the action schema here, and we have that. That's great. But I'm going to say this. We're going to create a new, what is a series of questions I can ask to be able to get the results back? What are the questions I can ask in a quiz inside of a GPT, to be able to get the results back from this action schema? Great. So these are the questions that it's asking right now. Cool. We're going to put this in right here. And we're going to go over to the original GPT that we had over here on the side. And what we're going to do is we are going to go here. And instead of this section here, we're going to get rid of all of this. Just like that. We're going to hit enter. All right, so now that we know that we've grabbed the actual schema that was formed on that side, we're going to go back that we just used over here in the GPT. No. So what series of questions to ask to get this response? Okay, cool. So we know that this is what we're looking for. So we're going to highlight this. This is what we just fed in the ChatGPT. We're going to go through this, and that's going to make these questions right here. And now we're going to go in and we're going to update right here this schema. All right. And we're going to hit update. Great. We're going to copy this link, Control V, and now we've got this. We're going to put that on, and we are going to have this. We have this going on right now. And what we're going to be doing is we are going to run this just like that. I'm going to be really quick at this. I haven't. I'm just going to copy and paste this. Thank you for your honesty. What have you done for the negative thoughts? I am always angry. I want an AI tech company with a cool boss. What methods have you done on LinkedIn to book meetings? I haven't. What tactics are you doing to get past the gatekeepers? I ask nicely. Algorithm changes on LinkedIn? I don't know about that. What are your plans to adapt your skills and careers in advancements in AI technologies? Use ChatGPT more. All right. Primary channels that seem to be is these ones. Start laying up. Would you like to receive the customized solutions and challenges via email? So provide your full name and email. Sure. Dylan Watkins. Dylan at dylanjwatkins.com. Enter. Starting action. Allow. Now that we're hooking across here to make, we've got this going. Cool. All right, we've captured responses and we'll send over. So if we look at this right here, now we have this input coming through, and we can see in here, we have all of their statements. I haven't, negative thoughts, ideal boss, awesome tech company, I haven't, nicely asked, I don't know about that, and then it gives my name and my email. So with this, we can do a whole bunch of amazing things. So like, for example, if we wanted to, we could create variables that would allow us to then pull this across and then run this through a GPT inside of here so that we could format that into a customized response email. We could put them in a marketing campaign. We could send them a summarized report about this. But there's so many more things that you could do with this. But I just want to show you what was possible with this to be able to use this. So now, if we ever wanted to use this as an actual lead magnet, for example, I could connect this up to a whole bunch of things inside of here. I'm not going to be doing this just so you can kind of get the idea of what's possible. But inside of here, create a completion module. You could feed in all the data inside of here that you wanted to. Grab a new module. Oh, responder key. Right. We could grab a model. We could feed this into here. And then again, we could feed in all of this information that we wanted from the webhook across in the ChatGPT. For example, saying, create a custom report for this quiz. Max tokens, 4,000. Add message, user. Here is the survey results, quiz results. All right, and then we could feed in all of this stuff inside of here that we wanted to feed inside of here. We could populate all the data points all across here just like this. And we could have ChatGPT come up with an algorithm. And we could even parse out this data here at the bottom with the username and the user email right here to be able to send this data across. So it's a very powerful system that we can put in place to be able to webhook the data over and across through ChatGPT. Now again, we have to go back and forth with it a little bit to try to match up to make sure that the questions are matching up with the schema that we have. But once we have that, we have a system here to where all we need to do is be able to copy this link, hit enter, hit paste, and now anybody could fill this out and you could automatically be piping in leads into make.com to do a whole bunch of amazing things with. And so if you want to get access to this action schema I created that will allow you to be able to really make any of this stuff right here that we want to be able to use right here. So hit new chat. So if you want to be able to access to this, if you just go to the description down below in the YouTube video, that will be there available for you to be able to fill this out, to be able to create your own actions, to be able to drive people and drive in leads from ChatGPT over into your Make scenario to be able to do any and all of the wonderful lead magnet businesses you can do with Make.com. So this was day number 20 of the AI Agent Challenge. If you enjoyed, feel free to give a like, comment, and a subscribe. And if you want to get access to the free action schema GPT, the link is down below. And much love, many blessings, take care, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye now.